All right, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Today we are going to be taking a look at one of my recent battlegrounds games. Actually, I just played this game a few minutes ago. We're going to be talking a little bit about why you lose and how it's your fault. So this screen here, I'm pulling up my gear screen just to quickly show you all. I am a 6,100 gear score tank. I am full tank. I play sword, shield, orb, and I run around strictly with the purpose of capturing objectives. I grab power ups and I capture objectives. I don't fight. I don't really have the ability to kill anything. And you obviously don't have the ability to force anybody to attack you if you're difficult to kill. So we're going to sit and wait through here. I'll speed this up just a little bit. Here, I'm looking to see who's on the other team. I'm looking to see if maybe we've got some people from some of the bigger guilds. We do. And then when I look over at my team, we don't have anybody of the bigger guilds. You're going to see this is a blowout game. We get absolutely destroyed. It only takes about 7 minutes. So this is going to be a quick one, and you're going to see what happens real quick off the bat. Now, something I do want to take note of super early here is I want to show you all something that I don't think a lot of people notice, and that is that on your mini map here, when you take a look, I think a lot of people think that these capture objectives are like they are in a lot of games where you slowly build up points from them. That is incorrect. Each of these capture objectives multiplies all of the different types of points that you can earn. So these ones that are close to the spawns here, number 1 and number 5, are ×2 multipliers. So normally when you pick up one of the power-ups, you get somewhere between 1 and 20 points as a base. And then you multiply that number by however many multipliers you have based on the objectives you own. When you get a kill, you get 50 points, and you get multipliers based on how many of the objectives you own. So something you're going to see, and we're going to talk a little bit about this as the game progresses, is you're going to see that my team fights over this ×2 multiplier basically the entire game. My entire team fights right here outside of spawn, trying to take over this ×2 multiplier. And that one action is about 98% of the reason you're losing all of your battlegrounds games. Now you're going to see that I'm going to take off here first thing. And I don't really play with my group. I don't really try to party up or anything like that because, again, I'm a tank. I can't really do that. But you're going to see the first thing I do here is I go ahead and I grab some buffs. And the first buff you're going to see I get is this little hourglass. That hourglass is a buff that speeds up your capture timer. It cuts your capture time in about half. So you're going to see me pick up this real fast, right? You see how fast that's going up? This is why your tanks are important. This is what your tanks need to be doing is they need to be running around grabbing power-ups, and they need to be running around grabbing these objectives, right? So I just pulled a ×3 multiplier for my team there. Now you see this person starts attacking me. They act like they're going to try and stop me. They realize, oh, I can't kill that person really well. And then I come over here and I grab this other objective, right? I'm popping all of my buffs, all my armors, all my heals, all that stuff. I'm popping. And then bambo, we're going to get this other ×3. Now you can see right up here, you can see our scores, right? So the other team only has a ×6. My team has a ×8 right now. Right now, we are earning more points than they are. And now they've just flipped it. So we are no longer earning more points than they are. But every time I gather, now we're down to just a ×3, and they have a ×11. So let's talk a little bit about that right now, and let's take a look at what the map looks like. If you take a look at the map in the upper right corner here, you'll see everybody in my whole vanguard, all 4 6-person teams are at our base right now fighting over this ×2 multiplier. And so here's where the problem really lies, is you should be fighting. Absolutely. You need to get kills. Kills is how you get points. But when your score is a ×3 and the enemy score is a ×11, you need to be killing 4 times as many people as them to get the same score, right? Because you get 50 points for your kill, and then you're multiplying that by 3, you get 150 points. They're multiplying it by 11. They're getting 550 points every time they kill you. So stop fighting when you don't have multipliers. This is why you're losing 100% of the time. And you're going to see, I'm going to make like 7 or 8 captures this game, right? I'm going to earn like a third of my team's entire point total or more by the end of this match. And it's going to be entirely on the back of capturing these objectives and breaking boxes. And so if you spread the fight out, right? If you don't just let them farm you at spawn, and you spread the fight out, then you can start getting more kills. You start taking capture points. You force them to move around the map, right? You force them into disadvantageous fights where they don't have numbers. Here they have their entire blob, right? So this is an even fight. So if they have stronger players than you just lose. But if you spread this out, right? If a couple people go over here, somebody goes up here, some people go to the middle, some people go over here, you spread this out, you might bump into a situation where you're like 4v3. 4v3 is a 25% advantage. 23 versus 24 is less than 5% advantage, right? So you can get much, much larger advantages if you spread the fight out a little bit. Don't let them farm you in your spawn. But anyway, you're going to see, so I'm losing, right? I've only got a ×3 multiplier versus ×11. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to try and take this middle one. This person's going to try and stop me. Again, I'm a tank, right? I popped all my defensive skills. So I'm good to go. And then I just take off. I'm not fighting that. I can't kill that person. What's the point in fighting that person? What's the point in fighting this person? There isn't one. I'm gone. I'm outies. I'm looking to go get myself another capture. I've already captured 3 points this match already. I've got 1,784 points out of my team's 3,431. Right? So I'm doing like all the heavy lifting for my team right now, and it's all on the back of trying to capture these points. Now, I did get killed there before I managed to finish this capture. That really sucks. And now we see the enemy team has 100% of the capture locations, right? A ×14 score multiplier, and they're getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of points. Look at them just farming points over here like mad. This is crazy. And so now we're going to take back off, right? I'm not even stopping to get involved in this fight. I don't care about that person. They're going to go in there and get boxes. I'm coming over here. So the reason I'm getting boxes first, and the reason I don't stop and capture this, is because I don't have my gather boost or my objective claim boost, right? I need to go get my hourglass. And so I left where I was potentially going to get attacked over here to come over to a better location. And there I go. I've got my capture boost. I'm going to hit a couple more of these. Boom, I got another capture boost. You saw the little hourglass there, and then bam, I'm back on the captures. And I'm keeping my eyes out. I'm looking around. I'm seeing if anybody's coming. Doesn't look like anybody's coming. I think we're okay. Get that capture off, and now I'm going to the mid. Because the mid's a ×4, right? So you've got 1 and 5 are ×2s. You've got 2 and 4 are ×3s, and then you've got 3 right in the middle as a ×4. So that's why most of the fighting takes place here, and that's fine. But it doesn't do you a ton of good to be sitting there on top of that. Now, I did manage to get that capture, and then I went ahead and got killed again. And so that's what I've gained 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 captures so far this game. And I have 2,800 out of 5,400 of my team's points, right? I'm more than half of my team right now. And I am earning these points by not being involved in this stupid fight. But not only am I earning those points for myself, right? I get 500 points every time I get one of these captures. But these multipliers, for the little bit of time that we have control over these multipliers, it is multiplying all of the point values of all of my other teammates, right? If I get this capture and you get a kill, you get an extra 100 points. That's crazy. That's a huge, huge value add. Because that's a ×3 multiplier. Now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to get another ×3. If while I own both of these ×3s, you get a kill, you get ×6. You get 300 points. right? That's a huge, huge value add. But not only that, I'm reducing by 150 score points per kill. Every kill that happens for every one of these that I own, right? So those times threes that's a 6 multiplier swing in our favor. Now, see, there's a teammate fighting right there, and that's great. And I could help him, or I could get this freaking thing, and then we can fight him. Now, we're going to fight him here, and we're actually going to lose this fight, right? He's going to kill both of us. I don't know how he murks my teammate so hard right there. I didn't even realize my teammate was dead, and then all of a sudden I was dead too. I think somebody was like up above me or something helping out. I don't really know. Um, but yeah, so we've still got a times 12 multiplier because the enemy team is too busy farming us down here. They don't even notice that I'm back here, except for a couple of them that keep coming and fighting me. They don't even notice that I'm back here doing all these captures, doing all this work, getting all this stuff done. And I'm up to 4,300 points now. And my team, because we had that times 12 multiplier for so long, you see we jumped way up in score. We're up to 12K now because my team is fighting really well against the enemy team. And you're going to see we're actually going to hold them at this 90K for a while. And we're going to keep running around. We're going to keep capturing. The end of this game actually lasted a lot longer than the beginning because a couple of people came out and started trying to help out with some of these captures. So we've got a times 9 right now versus their times 5. So we're gaining way, way more points than they are. And that's just a really, really good feeling is when you start making these points. Right at the end of this, we got ourselves up to 16K. I earned a little over or a little under 5K. So I got about a third of our points here. And then you're going to see I ranked 9 out of the entire game. So I managed to get rank number 9 with 0 kills and 8 captures, right? So that 8 captures is 4,000 points for me. And then I killed 36 boxes to get my other about 1,000 points. And so that's a pretty solid score. I got 1 assist. We got a kill in there somewhere. I got 0 kills. I did 2,000 damage. Now, this is a tank perspective, right? So I was running around, I was gathering capture points, I was doing all those things. You're not going to necessarily follow the same trajectory that I did, right? If you're a DPS, then your value does come from kills, right? This person got 17 kills, they got 9,000 points because they had huge multipliers the entire time. So they just made a killing on points, right? They didn't have to break any barrels. They didn't even really have to do all that much damage. They got a ass ton of points because they were in there getting the kills. They're a DPS player, and that's great. But as a DPS player, where and when you're getting your kills is incredibly, incredibly important. Again, we were fighting over that ×2 multiplier at our spawn that entire time. If the team had spread out and killed people on the different objective locations while our tanks were running around gathering up objectives and breaking boxes, right? There's more boxes to break that give you buffs, that give you more defensibility, more damage output, that can heal you, that can keep you in the fight longer. If you're fighting right there on spawn, you have no access to buffs. You have no access to the objectives. You have no access to advantageous fights because you're just constantly coming out of your spawn and getting attacked in waves. So you're never going to have more players than the enemy. You're just going to lose that fight 100% of the time. But if you step out, right, if you fly off to that left or right side, depending on which team you're on, and you get out of spawn and you go to the objectives and you get yourself some buffs and you move around the map a little bit, you create much, much more opportunity for yourselves. So stop fighting over objectives, A, that you already own, right? If you already own an objective and you're still standing on it, you're wrong. 100% you're wrong. Go somewhere else, get some buffs, kill some people, do something else. Defending a point that you already own limits your ability to find more points. And then don't fight over points that you're losing, right? If the whole other team is at our spawn and they're just spawn camping us and you're sitting there engaging that fight over and over again, you're losing that fight, right? That's not helping you, especially if you don't have multipliers. If you don't have multipliers, walk away from fights. right? If we're at a times 5 and they're at a times 9, I have to kill 2 of them for every one that they kill me to keep up. That's not a good engagement. I cannot kill 2 to 1, right? Nobody can, except for, a handful of whales that are already maxed out tier 3 with maxed out heroics, right? Those people are killing 2 or 3 to 1. But you're not. I'm not. Nobody is. So if your score looks like this and you engage in a fight, you automatically lose points for your team, right? The other team is gaining more points from that engagement than you are. So just walk away. Just don't even go there. If you see a disadvantageous situation, if you see more people on the other team than you see on your own team, turn and go the other direction. You are just feeding points in those situations. The only time it's okay to take an uneven fight is if your score is just out of control, right? You've got times 12 versus times 2. Then you absolutely just take the fight because it doesn't even matter if you die. They don't even earn any points. It's fine. But if you don't have a times 12 to a times 2, turn and walk away. So that's all I really wanted to talk about today. I really just want people to feel good about the battlegrounds because the battlegrounds are a lot of fun. But when you get into situations like we got into here, where you end up having to deal with, people from some of the bigger guilds coming in as a team and just farming you really hard at your base, it starts to feel really bad. But if you just walk away from that, you can still do really well. Right? And I'm not the strongest person on this team. If we go look, there are some people, we're going to kind of scroll down here in just a second. There are some people who are going to get some kills on my team, and you're going to see that. But then you're going to see things like, take a look here. This person has 6 kills, and they only have 1,843 points. So that means they were only gaining 300 points. So at most, they had a times 6 multiplier pretty much every time they got those kills, which is less than half, right? A times 7 multiplier is half of the available multipliers on the field. So they got less than half. So they were always fighting when they had a disadvantageous score. And then they got a couple of boxes to kind of round that out. So that feels really bad, especially when you look up here and you see this person got 5 kills, only got 17 boxes, doubled their score because they always had a times 12 multiplier. So they got a huge, huge score advantage every time they opened a box, every time they got a kill, every time they did anything, right? They get a massive score bump because of that. If we're going to scroll down a little more here, we're going to see this person right here has 0 kills and 1,500 points versus somebody on my team. So here's somebody on my team with 4 kills and 15 assists. We've got a person with 0 kills and 19 assists, 30 boxes broken with a higher score. That's what those multipliers are all about. That's why you're losing. That's why you're not gaining any points, right? This person did a good job. They got 7 kills. That feels pretty good. If you get 7 kills and you have this times 9, right? 50 times 9 is 450. 450 times 7 is a little over 3,000, isn't it? So that would be a triple that score right there. You'd be up here. You'd be number 15 or 16, maybe 17, right? But you'd be way up here with these folks. Instead, you're way down here, number 24. You could improve your position by 10 entire ranks without changing what you did, right? Here's a person with 7 kills, 3,400 points. You could be that person, but instead, you're down here at rank 24. So you have to have scores. You have to have multipliers. You have to have objectives owned. If you don't have objectives owned and you engage in a fight, you are giving away free points. Go break some boxes, go get some power-ups, go find an objective somewhere. Engage. If you have to engage in a fight at an objective that you don't own. Right? So, if we've got the middle one and we've got our one back here, but they've got the other 3, then we want to engage maybe at their times 3. right? So we've got a times 4 and a times 3. They've got a times 2, a times 2, and a times 3. So basically, everything's all evened out. So we want to go fight over their times 3 because that's their biggest bonus right now, right? So then we're going to rotate over to there. We're not going to try and fight at the center. We already own that. We're not going to fight at our times 3. We already own that. We're going to fight at their times 3 because that gives us the opportunity to gain a times 6 multiplier advantage, right? We'd be at a times 10, they'd be at a times 4. So that's just a little something to think about. These score multipliers are incredibly important. Make sure that you have a score multiplier advantage before you engage in activities in the battlegrounds, and do not fight when you don't have those score multipliers. Run away, go somewhere else, rotate to an objective, capture an objective, and do not capture objectives if you don't have that buff that I was getting, right? If you don't have that capture speed buff, do not press F on the objective. It takes twice as long to capture an objective without that buff. So let your tanks run around getting buffs. They'll have those buffs. Let your tanks hit the buttons. They can resist more CC. They can resist more damage. They're gonna, that's how they get points. That's how I got points this game. That's why I was rank 8 or 9 or whatever I was in the fight. So yeah, I hope you all get some value out of this. I hope it helps you all do a little better in the battlegrounds. Just spread those fights out, look for your objectives, pay attention to what your score multiplier is, and I guarantee, even if you're not winning more, you're going to have closer fights. This didn't have to be a blowout. Their team wasn't that much stronger than us, and that was shown in the very, very end of that when we had a couple more people moving out to get objectives, and we were holding objectives a little better. We started gaining score just as fast as they were. So this didn't have to be a huge blowout. It doesn't have to be a huge blowout for you. You can rise in the rankings. Just pay attention to those scores. Fight at opportune times. Fight in opportune places. And you're going to do fantastic. So thank you all very much. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like and subscribe. And come hang out with us. I'm pretty much doing battlegrounds all the time because I think it's super fun. So hang out with us on the streams. I stream pretty much every day starting at about 4 p.m. Eastern on Twitch and YouTube. So I hope everybody has a great day, and I will see you all on the next one.